بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السيدات والسادة، يطيب لي بصفتي المحافظ العام لجناح الجزائر في معرض أوساكا 2025 أن أتوجه بخالص الشكر إلى دولة وشعب اليابان الصديق على تنظيم هذا الحدث العالمي الرائع، وعلى توفير فضاء استثنائي يجسد الانفتاح والتنوع ويعزز التواصل بين الثقافات والدول من أجل مستقبل أكثر استدامة. كما أرحب بكافة الحضور لهذا النشاط الذي يندرج في إطار الأسبوع الموضوعاتي الخاص بمستقبل المجتمع والتنقل، والذي يسلط الضوء على استراتيجية الجزائر في مجال الأمن السيبراني. وتأتي مشاركتنا هذه من خلال المؤسستين الجزائرية للاتصالات وجيزي لتجسيد التزام بلادنا لمواجهة التحديات السيبرانية في إطار استراتيجية شاملة ترتكز على تعزيز البنى التحتية الرقمية وبناء منظومة متكاملة لحماية الفضاء السيبراني وتشجيع البحث وتطوير التعاون الدولي في هذا المجال الحيوي. كما نسعى من خلال هذا الحدث إلى إبراز الإنجازات المحققة في هذا المجال وإلى فتح قنوات لتبادل الخبرات، انطلاقا من إيماننا العميق بأن الأمن السيبراني هو مسؤولية جماعية تتطلب تنسيقا وتعاونا دوليا. مرحبا بكم مجددا وشكرا لحضوركم.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a great honor for me as the Commissioner General of the Algeria Pavilion at Expo 2025 Osaka to express my deepest gratitude to the government and people of Japan for organizing this amazing expo and for providing an exceptional platform of openness, diversity, and intercultural exchange to shape a more resilient and sustainable world. I would also like to extend a warm welcome to all attendees of this event, which takes place as part of the Future of Communities and Mobility Theme Week, spotlighting cybersecurity Algeria strategy. Our participation through the presence of the two national operators, Algerie Telecom and GZ, reflects Algeria's strong commitment in facing cybersecurity challenges. This is part of the national strategy that focuses on enhancing digital infrastructure, building an integrated cybersecurity system, promoting research and innovation, and strengthening international cooperation in this field. Through this event, we aim to highlight the Algeria progress in this area and to create opportunities for dialogue and exchange of expertise based on our firm belief that cybersecurity is a shared responsibility requiring international coordination and collaboration. Once again, I warmly welcome you and thank you for honoring us with your presence. Thank you. Welcome.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your invitation today. I am Ben Abbas Youssef, responsible of cybersecurity at Algerian Telecom. We recently celebrated our 22nd company anniversary. I am here with three of my brilliant colleagues, Sir Benzian Mohammed Amin, responsible of International Union Telecommunication at Algerian Telecom, and Ms. Walid Abbas, responsible cybersecurity at GZ Telecom, and Qasmi Yunus, engineer cybersecurity at GZ Telecom. We're really glad to be here with you. As you know, we live in a digital world, and as such, every second, every minute, and hour, we are threatened by cyber attacks, cyber criminals, cyber fraud. So the big question is, how can we protect ourselves, our businesses, and even our countries from a digital threats? Here resides the importance of cyber security. In Algeria, almost people and the company always use the internet. We use online services, e-government, e-banking, e-commerce, e-payments, and the social media. If we don't protect these systems, we risk our data, damaged services, or other problems for the country. This is why Algeria is working on a better cybersecurity by training professionals and implementing laws to protect people online. Excuse me. This is important for our safety and the future in Algeria, of Algeria in the digital world. In light of these, we are here to present about cybersecurity in Algeria. I will now hand over to my colleagues how we told about more details. Thank you.
Thank you, Yusuf, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. I will talk about the Algeria cybersecurity strategy and how it's here to protect the important area of our digital life. The title of our talk is the Algeria cybersecurity strategy, safeguarding the critical sector in the digital age. First, I will look at the Algeria digital landscape and how internet usage is growing. Then we will talk about the cyber threats facing Algeria and how they are increasing. Next, we will describe the national cyber security strategy, including the law, the rules, and where we are in place. We will also see how GZ, a big telecom company in Algeria, is strengthening its cyber security. Finally, I will discuss the vision of the 2013 and share some recommendations to the future. Algeria is turning point in the digital age. More people have smartphones and fast internet. This brings big opportunities, faster communication, new business, and better services. But also is mean new challenges our economy and daily life now depend on the computer network, Internet of Things, so we need to protect our digital future. Today I will explain how Algeria plans to do that. Let's look at how Algeria digital world is growing. We now have faster internet speed than ever. For example, Algeria Telecom Company launched the internet plan at 1.2 gigabyte per second. That is extremely fast. Algeria also has a project called Digital Algeria 2025 to improve our networks. Because of this, more Algerians use internet for school, work, and socializing. This is great, but it also means more things are online that we need to keep safe. Now let's consider cybersecurity in Algeria in 2024 as digital landscape and some statistics. Over 70 million of cyber attacks were detected in our country. That number has doubled compared to the nearest years, partly because of many people starting working from home, using internet, social networks, and digitalization of some business. Experts say Algeria now ranked 70 in the world in terms of number of cyber attacks. This shows our country faces serious online threats. So we do have some strong defense and the legal rules, but we need to keep improving in terms of training, cooperation, to keep with these threats. Now, the cyber threats are always changing. Criminals use new tricks and tools all the time. As technology evolves, we must adapt our defense. That means updating our security tools, teaching people how to recognize new kind of attacks. Staying aware and flexible is the key of the protecting Algeria's cybersecurity within the threat evolution. There are main challenges we face in the cybersecurity. First, protecting our critical infrastructure and critical business, like telco, energy, transportation, education, and hospital. Since this rely on digital network now is very important. Secondary, the governance. We need a continuous improvement. Algeria has a strength in terms of law and the governance, but we need to continue improvement and the leadership. So everyone knows that to do if an attack happens. The third pillar is the cooperation. Company and government must work together and share information. The first pillar is the training and awareness and the education. People and business must learn about the cyber risk and the best practices. Algeria has a strategic vision to the cyber resilience, meaning we can bounce back after attacks. This is the main important. The plan has key pillars: strong law, solid technical defense, cooperation between all the sector, and awareness through the education. These pillars form our cybersecurity strategy. By strengthening each area and each domain, Algeria aims to keep our system secure and recover quickly when any threat or any challenge happens. Our law has been strengthened to support cyber security. For example, there are punishments for hacking into system or tampering with data. A law passed in 2005 targeted cybercrime. In 2009, we set rules for electronic signature. In 2015, a law protecting personal data. More recent law cover telco networks and government information system. All this law make cyber attack illegal and define penalties. They form the legal backbone and the background of our strategy. Another key is part of protecting the people personal data. Law from 2018 gives individual right to have their information right over the information. People can see their data, correct mistake, ask to have if deleted, or object to use. This right ensure personal information is handled carefully and safety. By giving people control over their data, we make online service more trustless and more secure. Another key step is creating a national security repository. Think of it like a central library of security information and controls. It will contain policy, guideline, report, and incidents past. This helps all government office and company, public or private, under the Algerian law to be conform. With one shared repository, everyone follow and apply the same control for the conformity. The controls are based on the ISO 27, covering the 20 domain of the ISO, with a total of more than 400 control, covering the most important domain of the information security area. Algeria also set up National Cybersecurity Agency since 2020. This agency oversees cybersecurity at the national level, coordinating defense and setting standards. Each major organization also have their Chief Information Security Officer, the CISO, responsible for the security. With the central agency and CISO in place, Algeria ensures someone is always in charge of defending network and keeping them secured. Here we can see the risk approach and the risk methodology based on the NIST standard in terms of identify the critical sectors, identify and map the critical asset and systems, apply the protection in terms of law, legal control, and technical solution to protect the systems. Then detect in terms of security operations center, have detect and response process, and when we detect any threat or any incident, we have a process to respond and recover. This make all the loop and have a cybersecurity with a resiliency. A core idea in our strategy is national sovereignty, of course. Build secure local digital infrastructure in Algeria, meaning Algeria control its own digital future. We aim to use a local solution, development, and rely less on foreign technology for critical services and critical sectors. This ensures decisions about data and security stay in Algeria. By protecting our digital sovereignty, we make sure our online system and solution reflect our value and needs. In short, so we want to secure digital landscape that belong to the Algeria. Algeria is also working with another country to fight the cybercrime. For example, the NATO and Algeria held a workshop on protecting energy infrastructure. We signed the African Malabo Convention in 2018 and helped adopt the United Nations Cybercrime Convention. We also ratified the Arab Convention on combating cybercrime. By collaborating internationally, Algeria gained expertise and helped shape global cyber law, making our country safe online. Looking ahead to the 2030, Algeria has a national digital strategy. Key pillars include the High Commission of Digitalization, the Ministry of the Post and Telecommunication, and Ministry of the National Defense, Event Light Connected Algeria 2025, bring industrial leaders and policymakers together, and the CTO Forum Algeria focused on the digital transformation and cyber security. This initiative helps share knowledge and align effort for the resilient cybersecurity ecosystem by 2030. cybersecurity. Now, the recommendation is to build a local sovereign and resilient digital infrastructure and solution, and promote local innovation. This means founding startup incubation and research center in solution and cybersecurity by encouraging the Algerian company to create solution. We rely less on the foreign technology and strengthening our digital independence. Partnership, of course, with other countries and organizations is one of the key pillars. This step will help build a strong cybersecurity ecosystem for the future and a resilient digital ecosystem. So let's talk now about the Jazzy experience. Jazzy is a major telecom company in Algeria. Experience show how we have a company can build strong cyber defense. Jazzy is creating a secure digital ecosystem for its customer. They have launched a special cybersecurity program to improve their protection. Now let's look at the key steps in the next slides. Jazzy is the second largest mobile operator in Algeria by market share. We cover 95% of the national territory. Our customer base is around 70 million subscribers. Jazzy introduced the DSP, which is Jazzy Security Program, is the main framework for the security. Through the DSP, we set clear rules and steps to protect the data and network. We collaborate, of course, with partners and share threats information in the industry by following a clear plan and continuous improvement plan, so in order to make ourselves more secure. The DSP, which is the Jazzy Cyber Security Program, is our cybersecurity governance framework. It's covered the 40 domain of the ISO standard based on international standard, not only ISO, including the ENISA, the privacy, the ITGC of SOX 404, and including the national security standard. This means Jazzy addresses all areas of security, from physical protection and staff training to its system and network. The DSP is helping us to manage risk and set policy and plan improvement. Having this structured program ensuring that we are meet high standard and constant evolution in terms of defense. On the technical side, we have put many security measures in place that we build our own SOC, Cyber Security Operations Center, in order to detect and respond to the threat in real time, in 24/7. We have the threat anticipation for known attacks, the threat hunting for the unknown attack based on machine learning and intelligence artificial. The SOC team monitor network traffic and around the clock by continuous watching for suspicious activity, so we can quickly respond to the incident. This technical measure help to keep our asset and infrastructure to be safe and make that our network more resilient. So thank you for listening. Algeria's cybersecurity strategy is shared, so involving the government, the business, and the citizens by strengthening our law and our technical measure training. So thank you for the time, and hope so it's clear. If you have any questions, so we can answer to your question. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us to this very important event, talking about Algeria's national cybersecurity strategy. My name is Mohamed Amin Benzian. I work for Algeria Telecom, the main fixed broadband operator in Algeria. My background is on telecommunications networks. I'm vice chairman of ITUT Study Group 15. We actively engage in ITUT, whether in telecom standards or cybersecurity standards. So today's presentation is entitled Securing National Telecom Infrastructure, which tries to complement GZ's presentation on Algerian National Cybersecurity Strategy. So my presentation, we will look at first what are the best practices of drafting cybersecurity strategy, what we can consider. We will also look at life cycle and overarching principles of national cybersecurity strategy. And then we will look to the contribution of Algeria Telecom to the national cybersecurity strategy from implementation perspective. And finally, we will look to some areas of improvement. So Algeria Telecom is the key operator in Algeria with very large infrastructure, microwave, terrestrial networks, fiber optics, transmission, submarine cables. All of these infrastructure are critical. So from subscriber base, you can see that we have reached more than 6.6 million subscribers, customers to internet, plus 2.1 million on fiber optic, on FTTH, which have been done in really rapid pace. We also have legacy and VDSL, ADSL subscribers, 2.7 million subscribers. And also we provide fixed LTE services to our customers. We have more than 1.9 million customers. So this is indicate the wide range of infrastructure and customer base. When it comes to cybersecurity best practice, I mean, there are a number of key considerations since we are talking about cybersecurity strategy. From point of view of international best practices, the number one focus area is governance. And I think my colleague from GZ has put forward the governance structure that we have in our country when it comes to cybersecurity governance. So it's usually highest level entity that is put at the top of the country in order to oversee the implementation of the drafting of the strategy and then the implementation. And so to ensure intergovernmental cooperation when it comes to cybersecurity strategy development, and also intersectoral when it comes to interministries. So there is necessity to have collaboration across the institutions. And also when it comes to budget allocation and resources in general. So there is need for having a governance at top level. Risk management approach is also embedded into the national cybersecurity strategy. So it also encompasses the need to have the risk assessment, regular risk assessment, and of course the risk assessment methodology, the risk profile, and also the cybersecurity policy when it comes to risk management. So this is important, and my colleague has referenced some of the ISO 27005 when it comes to risk management to information security, along with other, of course, frameworks when it comes to risk management. Preparedness and resilience is the third area, focus area. So, of course, we need to establish an incident response capabilities. There is an ongoing effort in terms of strengthening these capabilities of incident response. Contingency plans when it comes to disaster recovery, when crisis happens, when crisis hit. So crisis management is important. Of course, cyber drills is key efforts when it comes to preparedness. So we usually conduct cyber drills. And of course, all of these points are important under preparedness and resilience. Critical infrastructure and it's also services. And of course, here this is important to have dedicated risk management approach to critical infrastructure. As I said, submarine cables are important, and we saw recently in last year and in a recent period many cyber attacks on such an infrastructure. And so they become critical infrastructure for many countries. We need to define minimum cybersecurity baseline here when it comes to critical infrastructure. And of course, strengthen that with public and private partnerships. The fifth area on cybersecurity strategy best practices is capability and capacity building and awareness raising. Of course, this is a very key component. So it is important to have a plan when it comes to capacity building nationwide, awareness campaigns regularly across the country, and of course among the sectors. So we have many sectors in telecom, transportation, etc. And each industry sector has very specific and unique characteristics. A coordinated approach to cybersecurity program and awareness raising, so complementary approach to awareness raising is important. And of course, cybersecurity innovation, R&D. So this is important when it comes to capability and capacity building. Of course, tailored programs for vulnerable sectors and people. The last 2 points are legislation and regulation. Of course, we saw the landscape of our legal landscape when it comes to regulation. We have many laws that have been established. So legal framework for cybersecurity, which already been presented earlier. Of course, human rights aspect when it comes to privacy and respect people online is important. We have also data protection law, which really emphasize greatly on this particular aspect. Promote capacity building for law enforcement. This is important for digital forensics and investigation when it comes to cybercrime particular aspects. The last area is international cooperation, very, very important. So the cybersecurity is becoming more and more being recognized in foreign policy of many countries, particularly digital foreign policy. So that's an important piece into the cybersecurity. So in order to promote national cybersecurity abroad through the lens of the foreign policy. Of course, engagement in the international discussion, whether in standardization organizations or multilateral or organization, international multilateral or regional organizations. We also do this. Promoting capacity building for international cooperation is important. So we now see the rise of cyber diplomats, some profiles in cybersecurity, cyber diplomats. So foreign policy officers need to also embed this digital mindset into their day-to-day operations, the day-to-day work. So it is important to have this cyber capacity building into international cooperation. A life cycle, of course, cybersecurity strategy go through certain steps, which is the life cycle. So what is the life cycle of cybersecurity? What are the steps that we can go through elaboration of cybersecurity strategy? The phase one is the initiation. So of course we need to identify the lead project, and of course we have seen earlier that we already have established an entity at the highest level of the country. So the lead project authority establishing a steering committee, of course, to work with the lead project authority. The stakeholders need to be identified. Who are the stakeholders that need to be on board of the drafting process. So a wide range of stakeholders from public and private entities. Then we identify what is needed from human and financial resources. And of course, we move to the planning process. There is a second phase, which is on stock taking and analysis. This phase is go through the national assessment of the cyber landscape, in which you can undertake your SWOT analysis, your PESTEL, and BCG, and whatever the assessment tools that you need to, in order to get information on the landscape. The cyber risk landscape also need to be identified. Then we move to the production at phase 3, production of the cybersecurity strategy. Then we draft the process, we consult with broad range of national and regional international stakeholders. So we consult diverse actors at regional, at international levels. Then we seek formal approval from the top level of the country. So then we publish the strategy. The implementation phase is derive the action plan. So it's important to have a fit-for-purpose action plan. The initiatives that need to be envisioned through this action plan, whether cyber drills, capacity building, awareness campaign. We allocate financial human resources, and of course setting timeframes and metrics and KPIs for success in order for this action plan to lead us towards success. And of course our company is more or less did get involved into phase 4. We are more in the implementation aspect. Then the monitoring and evaluation at phase 5, we need a continuous improvement of the strategy. So we need to monitor the implementation of the strategy. We can maybe repurpose the strategy itself. So we need to establish a formal process of monitoring progress, and then evaluate the outcomes of the strategy. Now we will look, so we saw what are the principles of drafting cybersecurity strategy. There are overarching principles of national cybersecurity strategy. In order for any member state or entity to draft national cybersecurity strategy, we need to have a vision in terms of where we need to go in terms of the strategy. So it has to encompass the whole society. So the vision is something that need to be drafted, and so we need to have clear vision where we are going to go, and it has to have an inclusive aspect and encompass the whole society. Comprehensiveness and tailored priorities. Of course, the strategy results from an understanding and analysis. So, following the assessment, this will lead certainly for comprehensiveness of the strategy. The inclusiveness, of course, the strategy need to consider wide range of stakeholders. That's another very important principle, and we have considered that into our efforts at national level. It has to have as a goal or principle economic and social prosperity. So the strategy should foster economic and social prosperity to maximize the contribution of ICTs to the sustainable development and social inclusiveness. Of course, clear leadership roles and resource allocation. Of course, we need to have very clear roles and responsibilities for accountability. So who do what at what time. So that's very important. And of course, allocate resources intelligently. Of course, human rights is another, when it comes to privacy and data protection, is another principle. The risk management and resilience. So of course, the strategy should enable efficient management of cybersecurity risks, as we saw earlier. The appropriate set of policy instruments, so we need to have our national repository of information security, so this is one of the policy instruments that we do have. But of course, we have other policy instruments, so which means that we need to have sufficient policy documentation that document how the risk approach is managed, how the information security policy is being put in place. The trust environment, so strategies should help to build digital environment that citizens and organizations can trust. So trust is important in everything we do. So we saw that the digital landscape in Algeria is rising. So trust is important in the digital age. So these are the overarching principles of any national cybersecurity strategy. So the contribution of Algeria Telecom as operator, we will see briefly at operational level which areas that we provided value added to the implementation of the Algeria's national cybersecurity strategy. Of course, we have developed capabilities over time, and from organizational perspective, the Cyber Defense Center we put in place according to ITU standard. Cyber Defense Center capabilities with many subsequent technical capabilities that allow us to monitor the threats, to have more deeper understanding of the traffic through DPI, vulnerability management, cyber threat intelligence capabilities. At the enterprise level, we also promote cybersecurity when it comes to enterprise services. So we provide to enterprise the services for audits, cybersecurity audits for enterprise, malware analysis services, and also red teaming package. All of these are put forward to the enterprise segment. We are actively engaged in international cooperation and standardization when it comes to cybersecurity. So we are engaged in ITU, as I said earlier, and also regional organizations like African Telecom Union. We have had in the past many positions in conferences and assemblies of ITU that deals with cybersecurity. At international cooperation, of course, as I said, we have engaged a lot with the African Telecom Union. So we have held many positions when it comes to cybersecurity coordination discussion. So we have engaged in coordinating discussions at the regional levels. We also have been engaged in global cybersecurity agenda discussion, which is the ITU's cybersecurity agenda, and also the Global Cybersecurity Index elaboration. So it is an index to rank member state readiness in cybersecurity. We are a member of the management team of ITUT Study Group 17, which is the study group in ITUT which is doing security standardization. Algeria Telecom is leading in management teams, and also we contributed several times into the workshops and activities of ITUT Study Group 17. We are also following the UN Open-Ended Working Group, which is the lead open-ended working group at the United Nations level when it comes to security in the use of ICTs. Very important group which is leading the discussion at the UN on cybersecurity norms development. Now, some areas of improvement that we put forward for your consideration that we are willing to engage in the future. So, of course, strengthening technical capabilities is our target goal. So, of course, enhance national or sectoral CERT, CCERT, or SOX, and PCERT when it comes to product. So it's important to enhance this national mechanism for incident management and response. It is important to develop national framework for implementing cybersecurity standards. So cybersecurity standards are very important. So it is important for any member state or country to have a formal framework for implementing standards. So this is showing the great engagement for cybersecurity in general from technical perspective. Strengthening capacity building, it's very, let's say, continuous work for any entity or country. So there is a need for promoting cybersecurity industry. For us, this is important. We are promoting SMEs in our country. So the thing here is there is a need for further promoting SMEs working on cybersecurity aspect. Government incentives mechanism for investment. So it is important to put forward incentives for cybersecurity investment and R&D, so research and development, related to particularly innovation in this area. Training, further training for cybersecurity professionals, certification, so training at all levels from beginner towards professional, and certification is also important. Introduction educational programs and academic curricula. It's important to have educational programs, particularly for cybersecurity. In our country, we have an agency for, we have a school of cybersecurity that it is dedicated for cybersecurity, which introduce many curriculums on cybersecurity. Public cybersecurity awareness campaigns. It's important to talk to the public on the cybersecurity threats and child online protection, cybercrime threats, best practices. So it's important to further strengthen this aspect. And finally, strengthening cooperation. So it's important. It's an important pillar. So it's important to build bilateral, multilateral agreement with member state, international, regional organizations. Of course, through what we call the MLATs, the multi-legal assistance treaties, and of course, building interagency partnerships, and finally, of course, strengthening PPPs, very important. So this is my presentation for you. Thank you for your attention, and we will be happy to have your questions. Thank you.
So thank you for your time, for listening. So if you have any question, we are here to answer to your question or consideration. So welcome. This question here.
OK 日本のセキュリティのエンジニアです。セキュリティの優先順位について質問します。企業ではサイバーセキュリティの優先順位は、第一に人の命、2つ目に、お金、3つ目に、ユーザーの信頼が大切だと思っています。Human life, second, money, and third, confidence of user. Third, confidence of user. そう国家という大きな枠では、目に見えない文化だったり、未来の人たちというものが大切だと思ってます。この目に見えないものは優先順位はどのように考えるべきでしょうか。またその指標はどのようにした方がいいでしょうか。
Okay, yeah, I got the point. So if I can summarize the question is that in your framework, the importance in terms of cybersecurity is the people, the lifestyle of the people, the personality, the data of the customers based on the culture, and of course the all related to the people's lifestyles. So the importance of cybersecurity in terms of PPT, what we call the people, process, and the tools. So what is important in our life is our data first. If we get the point top to down, is the people and the customer, or the customer or people is one of the key pillar to protect his data. When we protect the data of the customer, of the peoples, we are covering the protection of the data and the privacy. This is perspective of users. When we jump to the perspective of the nation is the sovereignty. We should have an digital ecosystem with strong, giving us a high resiliency on how to have a digital ecosystem, a strong digital ecosystem, resilient. We should have and we should rely on resilient and strong cyber security activity and systems. So jumping from the sovereignty of the infrastructure, sovereignty of the data, sovereignty of the services and the application, we can protect the data of the end user. We can protect the personal life and the personal data of the end user. Even the end user can be a people or the Internet of Things. Now within the emerging of the IoT, the data cannot be only the users, but can be things. So my point of view and in terms of standard approach in order to prioritize what is the priority and how to give the priority. The priority is to deal with the data, identify the data, and make the PPT, the process, the tools, okay, in order to protect the relevant data. And then, of course, the priority can be escalated from the top to down. The culture of the nation is depend on how we can deal with the data protection of the people. Another thing is the critical data and the critical system is one of the priority, because the data and the cyberspace and the cyber landscape now is become one of the key area of sovereignty. We should have a sovereignty national or in terms of the data and information. So the approach is from the top to down, dealing from the data of the customer till protecting the data itself in the infrastructure.
Maybe I will add a few things. In my presentation, I've put forward the overarching principles of national cybersecurity strategy. So human rights aspects are embedded on it when it comes to data protection, privacy, protecting people online, but also the presentation has put forward the importance of investment and the need to put in place incentives for investment. So all of these points are together. So they need to be considered at once. I don't know if I've understood correctly your question, but when it comes to data protection, there is linkage with cybersecurity. There is some duplicative areas. So data protection needs cybersecurity. If you look to the data protection regulations, you have to find security of information there. So it's an enabler for the data protection. So it has to go hand in hand. So when it comes to priority, I do see all your points very important to say this. Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions, please?
今日は貴重なお話をありがとうございました。一つ質問させていただきたいんですけれども、専門家の教育ってすごく大事だなということのお話をしていただいたと思っているんですが、一般のユーザーの方への教育みたいなところはどのような施策を取られているんでしょうか。例えば学校教育の場などでは、IT リテラシーみたいなものの意識づけをどのようにされていらっしゃるのかといったことが教えていただければと思っております。よろしくお願いします。
I got the point. It is a very important question because the security is a responsibility of all of us. And the children and the young people are important of the ecosystem of the cybersecurity, starting from the awareness and the education. Let's starting from the awareness. The awareness is our roles, is our job. We should do an awareness with our children, with our environment, for the young and the old. So in Algeria, we are adopting a set of awareness campaign all over the year. And there is an obligation of every company to set a program of awareness to their employees. And the October is the year of the cybersecurity awareness all over the world. And our company, JZ Company, is setting a special program in the October month in order to present and plan for a program for the awareness. And also what we are doing is going to the school. We do it since 2 years, is to do a special session for the schools and for the children in the school. And we adopt a special program for the awareness for the child people, to give them the old vision, the 316 about the risk of the cyber landscape, the traits and the how to deal with the emerging of the digital landscape, the application, and how the risk can be managed. So in terms of education, of course, we should, this is what we should do in the coming years, is to include within the school program an awareness and education in terms of how to deal with the cyber risk, because the next generation are connected more and more. And compared with the old generation, there is a gap. So I agree with you. The education should take part of the awareness and the education in terms of cyber risk and how to deal with the cyber threats in the future. Yeah. So it's a very pertinent question, and all over the world, I think all the government and should focus on the education and awareness of the child people. But let's start from home. Let's start with our children. This is what we are doing. I'm giving everyday awareness to my children in terms of cyber risk, in how to deal with the risk in the day-to-day life. So, thank you.
Yes, maybe I would emphasize on child online protection. So, in Algeria, the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications has developed guides for parents and educational guardians and institutions in order to how to do they educate their child in using and surfing the internet. So we paid a lot of attention on child online protection. We also participate in ITU in this area. So we have published in the website of the ministry, you can access and see the guides. We also undertook campaigns for child online protection and child in order to better utilize internet, particularly ChatGPT. So child and young people are heavily utilizing ChatGPT and such of stuff without knowing maybe the consequences of bad use in the internet. So, and also introducing their personal data into ChatGPT framework. So yes, it's very important aspect. Besides the fact that we had put in place a school of cybersecurity, so it's more about introducing curricula for cybersecurity, which complement the efforts towards the child aspect. Thank you for your question.
I will just add, I forget one thing, the awareness and the education is not enough. We should implement controls. In Algeria, there is a law that every ISP should implement the control in order to implement the API and filter the content of the child. The controls is very important. Okay, so in terms of to give an internet safe and secure to our child, we should implement a level of security and level of control in order to protect our child. This is what we are doing. We are controlling the traffic of the child, of course. This is an obligation in terms of controlling the internet, the content, in order to give a certain level of protection, and add the awareness and the education is a set of best practices, not only the awareness and the education, but every operator has the obligation to implement a control in the data and filter the data that is not allowed to be showed by the child. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? There was someone here.
Hello. So my question is further asking you to expand on the idea of PPPs, the private-public partnerships. Obviously, private and public institutions have different end set goals. So how, from your perspective of your own cybersecurity strategies, how have you been able to allow them to reach an equilibrium point where they can both agree on the similar strategy that benefits both the persons that you are trying to defend with public data, as well as benefiting the Algerian security plan as a whole?
Yeah, a good question. So in Algeria, the national reference is valid for the public and the private. There is no differentiation, okay? The law is clear. We have set of controls, and all the company should follow the controls. The controls are very simple. It's based on the ISO standard. We have 20 domains, more than 400 controls. And every company have the obligation, okay, of the conformity. What is the difference after that? Can be the budget allocation, the organization, the people. Of course, when the landscape grows, if the company is dealing within the digital ecosystems, they need more people, more engineers, more cyber engineers, if we are talking about cybersecurity, more tools. It depends on the company. If it's a big company, they should have the ratio at minimum between 2 and 5% of the total budget of the year. If we are spending $2 million in terms of annual budget, the budget allocation to the cybersecurity should be an average between 2 and 5%. If it's less, we are out of the KPI. So now it depends on the company. We know that the private have more budget and have more capability to proceed with the procurement process. And if the company is dealing within the digital business, they need to invest and put the people in place, the process. Of course, the process is very simple. If we are not in the expert in cybersecurity, Algerian government set the framework just to be applied. And the tools depend, of course, on how to protect within the area of the digitalization. Just to resume, there is no differentiation between private and public. By the end, we are protecting end user, customer, and the customer can be Algerian or foreign. And we have the obligation to protect the data, to protect the life, to protect the system, and make service and application available and resilience in case of any incident or cyber attacks. I hope that I answered to your question. Thank you.
I would say partnerships are important to grow and of course to implement the strategy. So it is important to have partnership for maybe 2 strong reasons. First, acquiring knowledge and skills, and better tools to protect the infrastructure. So this is 2 very strong reasons. In cybersecurity discussion in general, what we saw is that it's generally a multi-stakeholder approach and discussion. So there is need for complementary approach and solutions. So I said 2 strong points. So specifically when it comes to capacity building, knowledge transfer, and cutting-edge technologies. So that's the key behind partnerships for implementing strategy. Thank you.
Just I will add my experience in terms of public-private. In Algeria, the private sector is more mature in terms of cybersecurity. This is our experience. We was a private company before to be a public one. So our experience it was very, very, very mature. And now we are sharing our experience how to help the public sector. So public sector need more cooperation, right? Exactly, because of how the public is working in terms of internal process. In the private sector, the process is very easy, more easy than the public. So and our experience in terms of cybersecurity was an initiative since years and years. because we was in a worldwide group before, and we get a big experience and a big experience in terms of cyber security. And now our role is to share this experience and make all the ecosystem at the same level. The ecosystem of the cyber security between the private and the public should be at the same level. Because if we have a weakness in one sector, that can impact all the ecosystem and all economy of the country. This is why the ratio of experience, public and private, should be an average at the same level. And this is an expectation and the target in the future, we hope.
Someone else?
すみません、貴重なお話、ありがとうございました。日本で、サイバー、セキュリティオペレーションを担当しているものです。本日ちょっとお話しした中で、アルジェリアにおける、セキュリティ政策についてちょっとお話聞かせていただきましたが、アルジェリアにおける、すみません、地政学的なサイバーセキュリティリスクというものはどのようなものがありますでしょうか。What the geopolitical cyber security risks in Algeria?
I got yeah. So in terms of cyber security, the consideration of the geopolitics should not be a question. Why? Because all the world are connected, and the risks are the same at all over the world. Okay. Now, if you see that one of the slide is the sophistication of the attacks and all over the world and all over the years, the attacks and the incidents now depend on the targeted. So we know that we have cyber criminal, we have some hackers that need to bring that they are in the level of to do some cyber attacks, and we have a state that they are doing the cyber attacks and cyber crime. We know. But as a consideration, we cannot make a strategy based on the geo or the political consideration. The strategy is based on the risk. It's very clear. The risk is the driver on the approach of how to make our ecosystem safe and resilient. We should not make in consideration any political or geopolitical risk within the risk heat map. So by the end, the risk is the same, is the availability of the services, the availability of the infrastructure, the availability of the application, and protection of the data. The risks are the same, even it's from the attacks or the hacker are coming from a criminal organization or a nation organization. By the end, the strategy should be focused on the risk itself, how to protect any risk, anyway, coming from any consideration. This is my point.
Okay. I can add more. The risk is similar for every people and every country. The risk is how protect our data, our business. The risk is the international, because a group of cyber criminals are really a risk. Thank you.
Someone else, please. So thank you for your interest, for your questions.
Yeah. It's okay. Thank you very much, and welcome.
Thank you.